Hi, Dr. Dolly. This is Dr. DeHonda. I have greatly benefited from the White Coat Investor and can't thank you enough for all that you do. I have been hearing that Social Security will dry out in the next 12 years. If in fact this actually happens, how should one think differently about preparing for retirement? Does one increase the amount that they save or invest or something else? Thank you again, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts.
Okay, let's break this into two parts. First, let's talk about what dry up means. Okay, when you say dry up, it makes it sound like there's going to be no Social Security whatsoever. Let me explain what's actually going to happen under current law and current projections. Under current projections, in approximately 2033 or 2034, the Social Security Trust Fund is going to run out. At that point, if there are no changes to Social Security law, they will only be able to pay out 77% of promised benefits. Okay? Now, 77% is not the same as 100%, but I would not use the term dry up to refer to it. Okay? That's still the vast majority of the benefits you're expecting that you are going to receive. And that's if they do nothing about Social Security. That's if they don't raise the Social Security age, if they don't raise the Social Security tax percentage, if they don't increase the amount of income that Social Security is applied to, if they don't mess with how Social Security inflation adjusting is done. If they do any or all of that in some portion, it's pretty darn easy mathematically to save Social Security. Also, keep in mind that Social Security might be the most popular government program ever instituted in the United States. I mean, try to come up with 51 senators that are going to vote against Social Security. You can't do it. You'll be lucky to come up with 5 or 10 of the most extreme on the right side of the political spectrum. It's just too popular, right? Their constituents want it, whether their constituents are liberal or conservative. This program is not going anywhere. Is it going to change? Probably. There's probably going to be some adjustments to it. I think they're going to be pretty minor. I think a really likely one in our current environment, and I'm kind of surprised it wasn't in the tax bill actually, is simply applying Social Security taxes to a larger percentage of your income. Instead of the first $144,000 or so, whatever it is this year, maybe it's the first $300,000. That by itself more than saves Social Security. So it wouldn't surprise me to see a fix like that go through in the next few years. But Congress, as it usually does, is going to wait until the last possible moment and play a bunch of political brinksmanship, and then they're going to save Social Security. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. So if you're really worried about it and you don't think they're going to do anything to save it, and you think you're only going to get 7% of your benefit, well, for most doctors, that's not going to be the big chunk of your retirement income anyway. Right? So instead of getting maybe $40,000 from Social Security, maybe you're getting $30,000. Well, you're still going to need a pretty sizable nest egg or other sources of income in retirement in order to cover your retirement income needs. So now you need, instead of getting $60,000 from your portfolio, maybe now you need $70,000. So you got to work one more year or something like that. But if you really think Social Security is completely going away, as far-fetched as that sounds to me, then yeah, you got to save more money or you got to work longer or you got to live on less in retirement. You don't get a pass on math. Those are the consequences of not having that guaranteed income source in retirement. So, I've told docs for a long time to save 20% of their gross income for retirement. If Social Security is not going to be there, well, maybe it needs to be 25%. So yeah, you can solve that problem by saving well. In fact, for most FIRE folks, these financially independent retire early folks, they've already had to solve this problem without Social Security, right? Because if you're going to retire at 50 and you're not planning on taking Social Security until you're 70, you basically have to run your numbers like it's not coming at all. And the difference between a portfolio that counts on it and a portfolio that doesn't count on it is trivial if you're going to retire that early. Now, if you're going to retire at 60 or 65, you just got to get through a few years before Social Security starts paying off. But for those early retirees, they basically overcame it by just saving like crazy. And that's what everyone would have to do if Social Security went away. But again, I think that's very unlikely. I would not lay awake at night worrying about that, but do expect to see some changes as we approach, the 2030s that are probably going to, cost you a little bit more money in tax or decrease the amount of benefit you get from Social Security a little bit. But it's just not that hard of a problem to save Social Security. Now, you want a problem that's difficult to solve? Solve the Medicare problem. That is a far bigger issue to solve. And rather than being worried about not getting your Social Security, you should worry about not getting your Medicare. That's a big deal, especially with the rate of healthcare inflation that we've had. And there are no easy fixes to that problem. So I would spend your nights laying awake worrying about getting your Medicare coverage rather than your Social Security coverage. If you want your questions answered by the White Coat Investor, record your question at whitecoatinvestor.com/YQA or click the link in the description.
My dad, your host, Dr. Dolly, is a practicing emergency physician, blogger, author, and podcaster. He is not a licensed accountant, attorney, or financial advisor, so this podcast is for your entertainment and information only and should not be considered official, personalized financial advice.